Okay. It's going directly to my Facebook page, which nobody uses. It's just for my readings. And then I'll put a copy in Tribe 55. Want to set this container with the Lakota prayer and call the directions. If you would, just close your eyes. Call to the direction of the east, to the eagle, the totem which flies highest to Great Spirit and has laser focus. I call to the south, to Coyote. Coyote is the trickster, and I ask that our learning and our lessons be gentle. Call to the west, place of the bear, the place of introspection and hibernation, a place of great power. Come and be with us. And I call to the north, place of the buffalo, the bringer of the pipe to the people, where both the masculine and the feminine combine. And on the smoke, our prayers are taken to Great Spirit. I call on my totem and the totem of all those here. May they help guide us in our journey of knowledge and vulnerability. And may we all benefit, and may this benefit all. This container will remain for the time that we continue to meet. And for those who watch this, I just wanted to introduce myself to those that don't know me. My name is Tom. My spirit name is Spiraling Fox. And I've had this vision for Tribe 55 as the people that are here to help foster that which is coming. Not quite sure yet how, but that's the whole point of us gathering. Yeah. Would you co-hosts introduce yourselves and kind of talk about just what your thoughts are about the 55 and the Star Pearl? I open it up to you.
So first of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm Shay, and I don't really know where to start and what I feel about the 55. Yeah, I might even I don't know really where to start with it. So I do I do readings for people as well. I've been doing readings for in evolutionary astrology for 14 years, and then in the last 7 years I started doing adding gene keys and human design to my readings. And um I guess for me, even holding space for people going through this time, um I notice a huge difference and this is just not talking about me having the 55 and my personal journey, so I have the 55 as my life's work. So I guess for me in Gene Keys terms, I will notice it, as Richard Rudd says, I'll notice the changes that are happening in terms of my, I guess, conscious personality, in terms of the way that I experience the world um, and relate to the world in moving away from that victim state and into freedom. And gradually I'll notice this freedom that's happening where I'm not the victim to my emotions. And I guess even for the clients that I have coming, or for people that I'm guiding through readings for their own blueprint, I'm noticing a huge change in terms of how they're navigating life. And even though things are actually getting a lot more intense for people and the breaks aren't coming in as often, so people are getting, there's more pressure, there's more big events happening to them, one after another, to the point where in some ways they're not even getting a breather before the next thing happens. But the way that they can navigate through that is changing. It's becoming there's a lot more awareness in the way that people can navigate through these. And I think there's also an understanding that this is it's not just a personal thing now, it's a huge collective process for humanity to do the purification in terms of, so my understanding, I guess, is carbon, like when like for the DNA to be carbon, carbon DNA can hold karmic memory for everyone's experience on Earth, and for any incarnation that anyone had on Earth, they're sort of still holding this carbon memory. So they might hold carbon memory of the suffering that's happened on Earth, and carbon memory of wars that have been held on Earth, and all of these things. And there's an understanding that our part for the collective, as well as our own personal journey, needs to purify a lot of that carbon. And I guess for the full crystalline, with some of these rave children coming through after the 2027, that will be fully crystalline, that they won't hold, that we would have done a huge purification in humanity to a point where it's possible for them to come through not holding the same carbon trauma or carbon karma that we've had before then. And so I know that there's this purification, and I feel like everyone that I'm experiencing or encountering, even if they're going through some really big processes of grief, and there's so much grief as well in the collective, but there is this bigger sense that they can handle it in a way that it's a collective effort. And for me, I guess because of where my 55's positioned as my conscious sun or my life's work, I experience that within myself, and I also see it in the people that are coming to me around me. For me, I look at because my basis is astrology. I always look at the whole imprint. So a personal chart, like you have to look at the whole lot of a chart at once. So even though the star pearl's just been added, I always included the positions of the star pearl. So even though I'm a Gene Keys guide and I follow the Gene Keys way and the Gene Keys principles, and the depth of the Gene Keys is divine, but for me, I've always added the parts that were not included in the holographic profile anyway, that you can see from their human design, like their south node of the moon, their Pluto, their Neptune, because I can't just look at one part of a chart without looking at the entire blueprint for someone. So yeah, I guess I see these things coming through from knowing my own chart and my own blueprint, as well as the people that are coming to me, and where we're shifting. So hopefully that answers something. I wasn't sure where to start.
I'm happy to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Tash. Shay and I are in the same town in Australia, so it's nice to have another fellow Newcastle Australian friend. So for me, I have 55 twice in my evolution and in my core wound vocation. So I've journeyed with it pretty deeply, and seeing feeling firsthand really the density of when I'm in victimization, how it's like the complete opposite of porousness, right? It's like total density, and feeling in that density, like there is no possibility, there's no freedom, there is no way out. And I've lived for a long time, especially when I was younger, in that state, you know, the classic, like, it's happening to me. I have no control, I have no power. And what I've come to learn, especially in the last, like, it's really dropped in the last even month, is the importance for me, my own personal practice of, you know, following the things that give me joy. I know it sounds really simple, but, you know, I went back to what did I used to love when I was a child, and what were the things that used to fill me with joy and lightness and freedom when I was a child. And one of the biggest things was I used to play the piano, and I used to love it, and it would hand over all my emotions, and it would alchemize my emotions, and it would be the most incredible thing. And at 18, I decided to walk away from the piano, and I really lived with this gaping hole in my heart for a long time, until a month ago when I bought a piano again after 20 years, and just reconnecting with that love, you know, the thing that I used to love when I was a child, you know, that real, like, EQ, SQ, IQ, those spheres, you know, like, that was what I was doing most of the time. And reconnecting with that has been the catapult, honestly, that has shifted me. I feel like the threads of victimization, at least in the last month, have just completely dissolved. And the joy and the aliveness and the, like, I just feel like I'm in that state of freedom. And it's only really been the last 4 weeks that it's really crystallized, like a puzzle piece has really clicked into place. And so that's been massive, absolutely massive, just to feel like I'm really, like, living, like I'm in my life. I'm not just, like, going through the motions. So yeah, it's lovely to be here. I'm really excited to go on this journey with you all. I love the Gene Keys. I also work with human design as well. I'm also do hypnotherapy. I'm a publisher. I'm a business coach. I've got lots of different kind of tools in the belt. And yeah, Gene Key 55 is kind of the beginning and the end of it all. Thank you.
All right. I guess I'll jump in. I'm not sure how many co-hosts there are, but great. Well, I actually just moved to Ashland, Oregon, so I was in that area of the world. I came down from Portland and was up there for the last 8 years. And well, what brings me here? 55. 55 is in my profile, my life's work. But I also think it's most significantly, the 59, the programming partner, shows up 3 times in my profile. So that, in a sense, is where I'm most endeared. And both the shadows of dishonesty and victimization are, like, you know, siblings, and they're pretty much growing out of the same seed. And what's most significant about that, for me, is that's a global culture. That's who we are. And the arc of the 55 is just a restoration of what's already true and real, is our true nature. So I don't really look at it as something that's actually new. Sure, on a certain level of reality, it's new, but really not. It's really a restoration. And I think that's an incredible a balm of just relief in such a dense reality that we're in right now. It's like, oh, right, we're not really doing anything new. We're just remembering who we are in a very deep, psycho-spiritual sensory reality. Like, oh my goodness, right? Settling back into my nature. So, why am I here? Well, Tom and I connected a little while back and just kind of been doing stuff for a while, and just had a cool groove of what's real and true, and how do we serve the people, which is us. How do we serve each other? And I think that, I think we can speak about all kinds of stuff, but there's a certain reality. I mean, I love the poeticism of language, and on a certain level, talk is cheap. Can be extremely beautiful and medicinal and all that amazingness. And in the heart of it, it's like how we're living together, how we're being is really the juice, is really the true poeticism of life. So I think it's essential to be able to gather with like-hearted individuals, to be able to get real about stuff, because that's really, we've been really educated out of vulnerability and safety, and the restoration of safety. Emotional safety is really my dharma. It's what I'm doing here. It's my deepest medicine. I'm doing root cause healing, but really deep spiritual emotional healing for almost 30 years. There's nothing more important that I can provide, to the healing of humanity. The healing the heart of humanity is how do we be with what's actually happening in our own hearts? There's infinite beauty and love within the heart, as well as all the unresolved betrayals and abandonments and unresolved emotional issues individually and relationally, and to learn how to create a safe space for each other so that we can be with the depth of wounding within our own hearts. We're all wounded, but wound as just a tight configuration of energies. Wound and wound are the same word. Just wound up tension. Wound got a really bad rap. Oh, you're wounded, which is part of the betrayal paradigm, is that we use information against each other. Oh, you're wounded, as opposed to, oh, what's happening for you? Let's sit and have some tea. I'm definitely a big tea person, as I think most of us, the Gene Keys are. But how do we really be together? Which of course comes from intimacy, which starts with each other, which starts with our own hearts, and how do we be with ourselves? And they go hand in hand. Being with each other, help be with ourselves, how we can be with each other in a better way. So containers are crucial. They're not even like, oh, this is a cool thing to do. This is essential. And I also do feel like there's work that women do together, work that men need to do together, and work that we need to do in terms of just mixed gender identity. Also definitely fluid identity, but there is very something sacred about men doing men's work, women doing women's work, and then the blend. So I'm very excited here just to be here. So I'm just happy to be here, happy to be alive, and be here with you kind-hearted folks, and let's see the magic we can create together. No.
How about we just go around and everybody else just say where they're from and what drew you here, and if you have some experience of the 55 or the Star Pearl or the New Human, or just where you're at.
So my name is Marilyn. I'm currently in Southern California for the winter, but I live in Northern California where it's still raining and cold. I came to the Gene Keys in 2012, and I started with the 55. It is my IQ, but I didn't know anything about the Golden Path or anything else, but I felt like, I didn't feel like I knew I had been a victim almost all of my life. The first therapist I ever saw said, "Oh my goodness, you're the victim's victim." And so I really wanted to break that cycle, which I have, and thoroughly am enjoying the freedom that not being a victim brings. And I would hope that I could model this for other people, that there are ways of being in the world other than being a victim. But that's kind of what our culture has as its basis at the moment. So I'm here to model. I am in the Star Pearl series, and I don't have the 55 in my Star Pearl, but I do have the 59 twice. So I'm familiar with what Russell was speaking about. And I'm just glad to be here and share the journey with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andrea from the UK. Sorry, my camera's off. I'm just getting ready for bed. Um, yeah, I've got the 55 in my evolution. And just I heard Tribe 55 and just wanted to be around the other people that have 55 in their gene key and to learn more always a student. So, yeah, thank you.
I can go, I can share. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamara. I've also been called Tamara and Tamara. I answer to it all. It doesn't matter. I am a Gene Keys guide. I've been traveling with the Gene Keys since 2018. About 20 years ago, I came across human design, but really didn't pay much attention to it until the Gene Keys led me back to understand human design better. And it is like that mechanical. And I compare it to like human design is like the owner's manual of your car, and you pull it out when you need to change a fuse or check a problem or an issue. And then for me, Gene Keys is not only the map and compass, but it's having the keys to the freaking car and driving and living the experience. You know, it's just so tangible for me. And so I am in Star Pearl. I do not have the 55 in my profile, but I mean, who of us cannot relate to victimization and freedom? Who cannot relate to that? And it is my belief that in some way that all the keys are connected. And dare to be the divine, there's that the 1 and the 2 and the 63 and 64 combined to make all the other gene keys. You know, there's some variations. So I adhere to that. I am a professional tarot reader. I've read tarot since I was 15 and I'm currently 70. So that's been a long haul. Enough so that I feel I can say that I am a professional. But yeah, and I use it with my Gene Keys practice and guidance as a Gene Keys guide. I am in the Star Pearl. I think it is probably the zenith of any of the courses that Richard has put together. It is incredible. And I've done them all. I've hosted into deep dive retreats, a Venus and a Dream Arc retreat. So, and I own them all. So yeah, the Star Pearl, it is something fabulous. And it is that it's coming now at the perfect time and the perfect community for it to really blossom and make a difference. I happen to believe that the great change is already upon us. I see it in my grandchildren. I see it in these beautiful children that are being born. They have a light, they're different. Even my 19-year-old twin grandsons, they're different. My 22-year-old transgendered grandson, who was born female and is transgender, a fabulous artist. So proud of him. Yeah, I mean, and it's like gender is becoming, who cares? You know, who cares really? Other than for the sake of procreation, you know, you need a male and a female, but it's different than when I was young. So different. And I feel like my generation actually was the start of this. I remember the hippie movement in the summer of 69 and peace, love, and rock and roll, you know, and that was what it was all about. So I guess I'm an old hippie in some ways, but I'm very happy to be here and to share this sacred space. And I came because I've known Tom for quite some time, and I really cherish his friendship and love to any opportunity I can to support him. So thank you for allowing me to be here. Many blessings.
As I mentioned to Tom, I have 49 in my evolution. So that's a code honoring partner to the 55. And I have the 59 in Pluto, so the programming partner to the 55. I am here maybe to see if to find people in alignment in regard to unity consciousness. I had, what is it, when was it? Around 2 weeks ago, we had 49 in transit. And I hadn't, and I listened to Richard's audio. I hadn't done that in a long time. And somehow I heard it differently. It touched me differently. I had actually a really profound experience and was in a heightened state of being. And it was just so delicious. It was calm and a deep knowing. It's hard to describe, but it was just so delicious. And I felt like, yeah, here we go, there are your marching orders. And I believe, well, my experience is that I incarnated actually with some previous knowledge. So, definitely with that unity consciousness, because I remember as a very young child thinking, oh, we are supposed to all live in unity. I could not understand wars, or I could not understand borders. And so it's 2 weeks ago again, there was such a strong sense of wanting support, the coming of the changes to humanity, to Earth, that return of unity consciousness, and somehow be of service and support of that. And so, yeah, and here I am, and delighted, and open to whatever unfolds or guides me. Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, I'm Relitza. It's so beautiful to be here with you all. I was introduced to the Gene Keys last year, and I had my sequence read backwards because there's no forward and backward. But I started with the Pearl, and I learned from my Gene Keys guide, who has a 55. That I'm the 22, and we're meant to really collaborate and work together as this new consciousness kind of unfolds and awakens within us. And I have an old soul son. He's 10 years old. And so he reminds me every day all the things that I've forgotten, and nudges me in the right direction. So I'm really grateful to be here. I don't have the 55 in my sequence, but I recognize that there is so much to learn and unlearn and evolve with the 55. So I'm here for that, and really grateful to be here with you all. Thank you.
Sorry I'm late. Thank you, Tom, for making space for me. My name is Barbara. I worked late. I've been up since 5, busted my rear end, and I'm on my couch. Such freedom I have, huh? Anyway, this is introduction, I presume. So I have 55.6 in my culture. And I'm in Venus retreat right now, and we're in the EQ. And between the two, the IQ and the EQ, the 55 was really coming in for whatever reason. I didn't know it was on transit, and I think 2 days before, and I missed that call on Wednesday for the transit, but I listened to it twice, both different audios from the 64 Ways and the Big Book. And so it's kind of cool that it's synchronistically coming into my field. And then I've been like kind of dabbling in reading it and jumping around, being in my EQ and seeing how my keys connect or connecting, like it's starting to open up for me. And this key, I believe, is like my heart's desire to wake up humans. And I've been doing it for my entire life until I fell deeply into all of my shadows, and all the other shadows too, living my life that way for a good long time. And I've been with the Gene Keys for a year and a half now, and I have the 59 in my star pearl in the creative side. I think it's 59.3. And so it's right across from the 55, and I got 37.1 in the middle. And just so you guys understand me a lot more, I've always been afraid of human beings for most of my life, probably till I was 30. And all of my gene keys has to do with humanity, working with humanity, every single one of them. It's so crazy. And and I've had so much suffering and trauma, and a lot of it, of course, I brought on myself, because I didn't know any friggin' better. And I'm starting to understand with my who is my EQ? Oh, 4.6. Yeah, forgiveness and understanding and intolerance. And I'm completely intolerant of behaviors that I witness, and really working on, well, first of all, I have to understand me and where all this mental stuff is coming from. I was really pressed today. I was very much disrespected and gaslit by a coach at work. And oh man, my intolerance was flaring. And but I don't want to nitpick and complain to somebody. And I did have to blow off some steam in understanding of where I was coming from with somebody, but I had to ride the flow through this today. And actually I felt more peace in my nervous system. you know I don't fully understand the 55 as far as that we're kind of here to assist people, humanity, to ascend. I also got 26.6 in my life's work, and that's all about divinely manipulating people's egos and artfully. And Yeah, why did you show up? I lost that train of thought. Anyway, I'm glad you started this group, Tom. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all and hearing more about this master key. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. I run groups. Well, like, let me rephrase that. I don't run groups. My goal is I have the 14 in my evolution. It's to bring together the people to create something that is bigger than all of us, but takes each of us. So, you know, I'm flexible as to how we proceed. And I like this format of just getting to know each other, and learning and growing. And my dilemma currently with the Star Pearl is that I have the 30th key twice, which is desires. A line 2 and a line 6. The gift within desires is, gosh, my God, is it lightness? And you know, my beginning triangle is all about relationships as well as healthy aloneness. But desires is, everybody has desires. We have desires all the time. I desired to have a hamburger earlier. You know, I desire sleep, desire recreate, you know, it's all of these desires, but I'm trying to still put some, you know, how do you bring the lightness or without being judgmental of the desires? This is a good desire. This is not a good desire. This one is benefiting me. This one is not, you know, it's, and then, you know, I see that tied very closely with addiction and distraction. You know, it's, are these desires to not feel, to still a lot I'm trying to figure out in that genre. Are you able to hear me okay? Okay. You know, I'll just open the floor to, you know, what would we like out of this group? What would best support us? And how can we best support each other?
I feel like you've beginning the simple act of coming together and contemplating frequency in real life is incredibly powerful. For me, especially with this, I mean, this gene key really is like the root of all the gene keys, right? Like victimization is the root of them all, really. I know Richard Rudd says that in, I think it's in the audio transmission. And freedom is like the greatest longing, in a sense, I think, the greatest human longing. So for me, I think the simplicity of together and sharing and witnessing and being real is like there's great power in that. I'd love to hear from others as well.
So you brought up desire. I'm kind of desirous to dive into the book with a group. So just a suggestion, and they're done in like little segments, you know, some are a paragraph, some are two, and maybe reading it and feel into it as a group, what that means to us. And each time we get together, do the next one. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I'll just chime in. I think what I most value is in a deep, long arc of really how I enter relationship about anything. And it's been like a 20-year contemplation. A dear brother of mine one day said this was more about romantic relationship. And he was like, I think you should look at how you enter relationship. And I was like, wow, what does that mean? And I don't know. I don't think that's something I ever like, oh, I got that now. It's been a profound contemplation to see every subtle nuance of desire, attraction, not just physical or sexual attraction, but emotional, psychological, spiritual, like the essence of, who I am and then what I'm drawn to, whether it be through conditioning or my nature. So that being said, like really not so much what are we doing here? I think it's easy to track. There's some desire, some draw, healthy desire, like a draw for some kind of growth, renewal, exploration. And I would like to just lay out there, like, what do we really want this to be? In the sense of through all our experiences and everything we experienced through relationally and communally, groups, if we really want to be in this group, how do we make this group dynamic the greatest thing ever? Everything we've always dreamed it to be. The most supportive, the most functional, the most healthy, integratively. Who is the Russell that has been, dying, or in the sense of like living to show up in a way that is the most authentic. I think that word best version of myself is kind of a little bit overused, but the most authentic version of myself, what's most real and true for me, and how do I show up in a way that really supports that with others, and then you get that beautiful feedback loop. So I like to lay out that prayer as just a moment of contemplation. It's like, what do we really ache for this to be as something quote unquote new? Like, how have we been? Because what we've done and how we've been has gotten us here. And then what really is looking to happen with this group dynamic. So otherwise, yeah, last thing, otherwise, why do it? There's a great mantra in our community. It says, if it ain't awesome, I ain't doing it. Let's be fucking awesome. What is that living reality for each of us? That'd be fucking awesome. And also, yeah, other one, if you're not living in awe, you're not paying attention. Oh,
Yeah, I might like what I was feeling into before, even when sharing Tom with the 30, and I guess through the 55 and all of it, like the greatest longing for us all is to, or the greatest desire is still leading us to that ultimate merging, like merging with the creator, and everything's just leading us to there. And when you're talking, Russell, about entering into relationship, and I see it as well with this 55-59 combination of like really entering into a greater relationship with not only the divine but with life, and every time we're interacting with relationships, intimate relationships with people, we're all just the root of that longing of relating with people and relating with is that ultimate to feel like connected to source and deeply connected to our experience in life. And I guess each time we gather here, like Tash said, in real time, like we're reflecting or contemplating deep on where we are in the now as we transition through these few years until the 2027, because the new earth is, of course, it's already here, and like everyone has shared, our children are different, our people are different, people are showing up differently because we're creating that together. We're all creating that shift, and each time we gather, I mean, the whirlwind is fast. Like I have the 49 as well in my IQ, and yeah, I'm 55 as my life's work. And I actually have, from the beginning of Aquarius until the 37 of Pisces, I have the whole Aquarius run, and then the first 2 Pisces gene keys. And so in this shift between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius, I've got all those gene keys leading there, and I know how fast the movement is. The whirlwind is fast, and yet in the rising of the sleeping phoenix, like the cross, we've got like an anchor point of presence there, like presence in the now through the 20th gene key and that contemplation. And so I guess when we gather, it's like the contemplation of the now, knowing how, so that it was anchored into what's showing up now and what we're creating in the now, knowing that spiraling around this is it's fast, it's quick, it's the shift is fast, it's showing up in a quick way. Like our desires are faster because they're ultimately like leading more and more into what the heart of those desires really are. And yeah, I have the 30, Tom, as my relating in Star Pearl. And my partner has it as his life's work. And I would watch him and like be thinking, like, not judgmental, but I'd be thinking, wow, your desires are like endless, as if I didn't relate to the desires within me. But there's a lot of the desires within me as well. They just show up differently. But yeah.
Love that you shared, Shay, and also the anchoring in 20. I think that's so powerful and so potent, really coming back to and the superficiality want to kind of bring us up to the top, not anchor into the depth. So yeah, thanks for anchoring that in. Beautiful.
So I don't believe anything is coincidental. I do believe in synchronicity, and why am I here? And my impetus for being here was originally, Tom and I were in breakout group earlier, and like I said, I've known Tom for a while, and I consider him a dear friend. And I saw this and like, well, let me check this out. Let me go and support Tom. But beyond that, why am I here? And that's the question that I'm asking myself even at this moment. I really relate very deeply to the 59. I mean, anybody who's done a delta knows that that's a harmonic key, and harmonics are very important to me. How we blend, how we make music together, and the transparency and the intimacy. That is, I mean, I've been been in shared space in many groups over the past 7, 8 years. And each one has been uniquely different and has had some purpose or fulfillment or some great angst and frustration. It's both. And I don't know. I'm pondering, what can I contribute? What purpose does it serve not only myself, but whoever's in this container, because I am called to serve. And here at this precipice, this beginning point of launching, um, some direction, some form of why I'm here is very important to me in order to continue being here. And I'm not opposed to it. I'm trusting my own internal intuition. And it feels like there's something powerful that could be produced here. So although I can't put my finger on it or give it words at the moment, it is a feeling. And if the group would like to indulge my presence at the moment, then I would be interested in continuing to show up. And that's really all I've got for right now. But I'm intrigued. I'm interested. There is a spark there. So thank you for allowing me to occupy this space.
Well, one of the things I'd like to, over the course of this group dive into is the metamorphosis of the dragonfly. I recently, I don't know crap about astrology, but Richard had done this podcast with an astrologer. You probably know what I'm talking about, Shay. And one of the things that they mutually said was that this particular alignment of planets would set off almost like a genetic change, as genetically, the dragonfly is this water creature, something in it genetically switches, it crawls up a stalk and turns into something completely different. Though what it was inside of it the entire time. And, I'm thinking of that, for myself, and it's like, oh, that's a little alarming. When I first started looking at the 55, it's like, oh, I can feel my wings coming, and then I heard this. So that, I would certainly like to hear others' thoughts, maybe not necessarily today, but as we progress in this. And also, very specific things that, I've had a pretty interesting life with a lot of victimization in it. And I've gotten to the point of really not seeing the victimization anymore. It's I don't even really tell the stories anymore. But what is it that has shifted and how has it shifted? And how can I continue to support that shift going on forward is another topic, of I'd like to explore in this. The idea of reading a piece of the 55, I think it is also a great idea. So any other ideas from, or things that you think we would like to look into as we continue.
Yeah, I love that, all that you just said. I love the idea of really feeling the dragonfly journey. I have my own contemplation that I've contemplated a lot about the dragonfly and also the process. And I love what you said also about the that genetic codes being already within us, because I've contemplated that a lot as well in my other modality that I do like soul retrieval, past life regression journeys. But so I get a lot of people coming for that. I actually work with that online as well, on Zoom, but I have a lot of thought on that. And then also about going through like a section of the 55, and I also love that, because I think that, yeah, to go into each part of it, there's so much, like there's so much. And I think that's why the gene keys are like, as I said, I had to use, as an astrologer, I had to use human design just to bridge when the star pearl wasn't even added, or wasn't, like, some of the things aren't added astrologically into the hologenetic profile. I needed to use the mechanics of human design. But what the gene keys have is, like, there is so much depth within every single gene key, and even reading them and contemplating them on your own, or going on little different platforms that the gene keys hold, and that, of course, all the Venus sequence, all the sequences, and the Venus sequence, and all the teachings. And we get that time to reflect on it, but to actually go through bit by bit in a group, there is just so many dimensions to everything. And I think I feel like that would be a worthwhile thing as well, in contemplating those deeper parts. Yeah. So yeah, that was great. Thank you.
I believe there's also an audio guided visualization as well that Richard's done on the 55. Anyone? I'm pretty sure. I'll see if I can find the link. Shay, do you know that one as well? I think it might be called The Great Change.
Yeah.
Have you listened to that?
I'm
Yeah.
not
So that could be
hearing you,
something
or
that
your internet is breaking up.
oh,
Could
I
you
was
speak a
gonna
little
say,
louder?
you're all
yeah,
choppy, Tar.
the guided. Okay, I'll put it.
You know, I mentioned that I don't hold the 55 in my profile or in my HD or anything, but thank you for mentioning the dragonfly, because I do have a dragonfly. So I embody the dragonfly. So I just wanted to share that. And also I designed it, my tattoo artist did it, so.
Back to desire, it's like, how do we reach the people? And I've never there's so much meat and potatoes in the book that sometimes can be overwhelming, is like how and seeing myself in these scenarios. And I'm glad that a couple of you like that idea I offered, to really understand and prepare us for what this means for as close as 2027. I mean, it blows my mind when I hear about this. It's like right around the corner, and I'm still in the Venus sequence, and I know that the 55 is already here in me, and I too have let go of my victim stories, and you know, um, but still these especially for new people like me. I've been in it for a year and a half, that you may scratch a couple layers of your shadow, and you're feeling good and stuff, but God knows those things can come around and knock you off your feet sometimes, even in another year from now. And, so I'm really kind of anxious to dive in and into this 55 and join a tribe and really understand this this key.
Yeah, it's funny what you share there, Barbara, around what we choose to focus on is what we, that we get the medicine of that. Life gives us the medicine of. So I do feel that, we're going to explore, or I guess be met with the raw material, our victories, even the ones that we thought we'd alchemize, that are still lingering. So I do that as well. But I just want to say, unfortunately, jump off, Tom. But so excited, and yeah, looking forward to getting to know you all better. Thank you.
The contemplation that you were talking about, the meditation, I had just put that on the Facebook page about maybe a week ago. That was the first time I heard it, and it was like, wow, yeah, it's intense. I'm gonna have to listen again.
Bottom line, none of this is one and done.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
I've been doing this for 8 years, and it's like the more I do, the more shadows and are coming up. It never ends, and it's not supposed to end. And yeah, it's Tasha had said about the medicine. Well, the antidote is in the poison. The gift is in the shadow, and it's nothing to fear, and all shadows are fear-based. And it's when we overcome our fear and we just dive really deeply inside and embrace those shadows that the purity of the gift is able to be retrieved. It's so, yeah, it's never one and done. I've done the Venus sequence at least 8 times, at least, and that's including 2 deep dive retreats, and it's, yeah, and the same with the pearl. And that's why I'm so really truly and excited about this star pearl, because I feel like I've been waiting for it for years, and it has been years. And yeah, it's something new and exciting that really is calling me right now. So thanks again for listening.
I was going to say, Tom, also before, when you were saying about the victim, sick of the victim story. So I actually very much relate to that. I had probably one of my main sort of victim stories in my personal journey. I was in it deep, and it was around the divorce from my boy's father. And it really did get very hectic, but I didn't have any tools to get through it. So I would be telling my family, my extended family, all close. So I would keep sort of explaining the victim story that I was in, until the point where I just got so sick of the story. So I feel like I just got so sick of my own story that I actually had this like out of body experience again as I was telling the story one more time to someone. And I was just like hovering down on my own self, just being, I'm so sick of this story that I know that it'll come up. I know the victim hides in so many ways, like he says in the 55. It's like, but in terms of like a direct way that I had it over that particular scenario, I don't know if I know that we will go into our shadow. Like I know, like you say, Tamara, like it's in the shadow. And sometimes to move through it, we need to keep indulging that shadow, or in the case, telling the victim story over and until we've actually really learnt. Like I knew the gene key of it, and I knew like at the beginning of the event, I didn't know the gene key of it, but through this event, when I was still telling the story, I knew the gene key, but yet I had to keep going until the point where I was done with it. And I was like, I'm so sick of that story, but I know we have to indulge in those shadows sometimes until we really have moved through. And the guided meditation, I teach yoga also. So I've been playing that meditation in Shavasana for little extracts of that over a long time. And it's beautiful listening through their ears as well. Like I don't know what each of them are receiving from it, but when I play it and I'm just playing it and then I'm sitting where they're all like taking it in, it really comes to life, because I'm like, it is like the 55 fantasy part, because it's like, where are they going with that part of the journey? Because there's also so much depth into all those, into that visualization of the great change. And yeah.
The Great Change, that was what it was called. Yeah.
Is
It's
that
sort
what the meditation is? I missed somewhere, maybe it.
It's something that Richard did. I'm not sure how long ago. I think it's fairly recent, but it's on the Tribe 55 Facebook page. It's called The Great Change. It's a pretty long meditation.
Okay.
It's very powerful. Well, I was thinking of sort of wrapping it up for today's meeting. How do you guys feel about that? Awesome. Any last comments?
I would like to add something to the shadow. I would love to see that we look that we can look at the shadow not just in a negative way, in something, because I still hear it even in Gene Key community, so much negative talk and too much emphasis. So I like that Richard says, spend only 10% of your time in the shadow, and to look at it, the wonderful part. Desire can be good and can be, let's say, good and negative. It's not one thing. And when I look at my shadows, some of them have been helpful at certain times, and at other times, yes, it can be very painful, etc. And when we said Tamara, the gift is in the shadow, and to really explore that more, and then also go more into the gift frequency, to move forward. How can we be welcoming 27 and beyond? What is our part in it? How can we best be of service? And so to look even in the cities, because I have experienced at times the cities, and sometimes it's like all three happen shortly after each other. And it had a fun experience. So after what happened 2 weeks ago, and I even was experienced, so not to be afraid of the shadow, and that it's all okay and part of who we are. So, but then, like you are in this wonderful elevated space, and then the next day, day-to-day life happens, and suddenly, it's not the same strengths. And then this week, I went kind of into the dark, into the shadow area, and I felt really bad about it. But guess what happened? And I thought it was so hilarious. My clocks, every time I looked at the clock, it was like 222, 555, even like 11, what was it, 11:44 or 12:12. And I was 4:44, and it was like, oh, thank you. I'm feeling so bad about myself. I'm thinking, oh God, God, Great Spirit, whatever you call it, the creative universe must be so disappointed. There I am, really deep into some muck. And it was saying, no, you are okay. So that's what I felt. I'm okay. You know, probably up there or wherever it is, has a good laugh of me silly being. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like within the nymph is the dragonfly. All right, guys, it was wonderful spending the time with you. I look forward to seeing you again.
Tom, can I ask one question?
Sure.
Am I understanding the, I don't know if it's motive, purpose of the 55 that we're like kind of here to assist humanity in all these shifts going on?
I think as we help ourselves, that fact is helping humanity.
Yes. Well, yes, I know that, but I thought that was kind of more of the direction or whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
It's an aspect of where we're going. Absolutely.
Of the 55. Yes. Okay. All right. I just wanted to get a little clarity on that.
All right.
Maybe it'll be in the book somewhere. I'll find it.
All right, guys.
Thank
I
you.
will send out a notice for the next one.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.